classical conservatism, contemporary style. This, a version of the 1812 overture by the classical dance quartet Bond, who also does our theme song. And history is a big focus of former Lieutenant Governor Rebecca Clayfish, who founded the 1848 Project, of course, a reference to the founding of Wisconsin as a state, and she is now calling for Governor Evers to ban the revisionist history known as critical race theory, the 1619 Project, a big part of that. She doesn't want that in our schools, and she joins me now. Lieutenant Governor, great to talk to you again.
Good morning, Dan. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. So you are demanding that Governor Evers ban critical race theory in our schools. You know he is not likely to do that, but why are you making this call?
I'm making this call because you're right, Dan. This is revisionist history. Critical race theory basically says that all men are inherently racist, that our systems were created to be inherently racist. But the fact of the matter is, we know, and it's even written into some of our most dear documents in the country, that all men are created equal. That is the basis on which we operate, we write our laws, and we contribute to our common culture. Critical race theory also says that race is not a biological construct, but it is a social construct. And you and I and so many of your listeners have seen this type of argument being used in so many ways by leftists. And then finally, critical race theory says that successes by Black Americans, just non-white Americans, simply benefits white America. And that's not good. So it basically teaches young people to judge themselves and others by the color of their skin, which is an ugliness that I just won't abide by. And I think Tony Evers should stand up to that type of behavior pushed by the far left of his party and say, no, we're not going to do that here in Wisconsin.
Is there any chance that Governor Evers is capable of standing up to the far left of his party? 2 years plus worth of evidence would suggest he's not.
I think you are 100% right, Dan O'Donnell. I don't think he's going to stand up to the leftists of his party because we've seen them absolutely scream. We've seen them burn cities. We've seen them try and firebomb the city-county building in Madison. We've seen them beat up and leave unconscious a Milwaukee state senator on the Madison Capitol lawn. We've seen them tear down statues. We've seen them destroy businesses. We have seen them intimidate people in Wauwatosa. We have seen them try and frighten average Wisconsinites who simply want to live life, be prosperous, and enjoy what we have in this state as we recover from this long pandemic. And every single time, when given an opportunity, Tony Evers panders to them instead of shutting down the bullies.
For example, the $300 per week unemployment insurance benefit that many Republicans, in fact, Wisconsin's entire congressional delegation led by Senator Ron Johnson, asked Governor Evers to end it. He flatly refused it. Now, some would say, well, Dan, why would you want to take money out of people's pockets? Well, I spoke on Sunday night with a friend of mine who's a small business owner. He owns a lawn care business. I asked him how business was going. He says, it's great. However, it's just me. Normally, I have a crew of 5 or 6 guys. This year, because of the unemployment, I can't get a single person. Now, that same day, went to a restaurant, happened to strike up a conversation with the waiter, who also happened to be the assistant manager. Asked him, how's business going? He said, look, it's a Sunday night. You can see we're jam-packed. We have 3 people serving as our wait staff. 3 for all of these tables. And I said, let me guess. People don't want to work because of the $300. He said, yeah, it's impossible. Even when all the tips are factored in on a busy night, I just can't compete on wages with what the government is giving people.
It's almost criminal, removing the dignity from work, which is a concept on which this country was based. Dan, there's a reason immigrants to this country do so well, and it's because they come with a work ethic that is like none other, that is like some of the pioneering work ethic in this country. That's why I too called for the end to the $300 supplement on top of unemployment insurance a couple weeks ago. Wisconsin would certainly not be the only state. About half of states in America have now ended this because we no longer are looking at a skills gap in our workforce. This is a will gap. People don't want to come back to work because it's not rational to come back and spend time away from your family, away from the activities that you were doing for less money than what the federal government was paying you to not be in the workforce. Now, once upon a time, this might have made sense when there was a lot of fear about the pandemic and what COVID-19 would do if everybody was going to be congregating in workplaces every day. That is no longer the case. We have evidence, we have science on our side. It's time for folks to go back to work, but in order to encourage them to do so, Governor Evers needs to take the same stand against the bullies on the far left of his party that so many other governors have taken and say we've got to end this extra booster on top of unemployment insurance. Your stories are the same stories that I have been hearing in listening sessions across the state of Wisconsin. And I'll tell you, Dan, people will say, the trolls on Twitter, they'll say on your page, they'll say on my page, well, you know, if you just raised the minimum wage, if people just paid more. You know, I have a story like yours. I have a buddy who owns a bar restaurant. He's now paying his backstage staff, so his fry cooks, the folks who are washing the dishes, prep cooks, $20 an hour. $20 an hour, which is more than you would be making on the UI plus the supplement. He still has to have his doors closed 3 days a week. Joe Biden will say, this is all about child care. We need more federally subsidized child care. You know, there's an Obama expert who has come out with a new study that says, sorry, Joe Biden, you are absolutely wrong. Democrat governors catering to the far left, you are absolutely wrong. This is not about child care. This is indeed about you paying people more to not jump back into the workforce than they'd make if they were the landscapers, if they were the hospitality workers, if they were working restaurant service.
Lieutenant Governor Rebecca Kleefisch joining me, and today the state legislature is meeting in special session, which will last a grand total of, what do you think, 30 seconds? Maybe we could get it down to 15? I'm hoping. I'm going to time them. I want 10 seconds.
You gavel pretty fast if you've gotten a lot of practice doing it.
Yeah, I think they could gavel in, gavel out. Governor Evers, of course, called a special session for no other reason than to say, hey, Republicans don't want to expand Medicaid. He wanted a Medicaid expansion. This is something that Democrats have wanted since, 2014. Wisconsin is one of just 12 states that has not yet taken the Medicaid expansion. This dates back to your administration with Governor Scott Walker. Why does it continue to be a bad idea to take the Medicaid expansion?
You're right. This is a Tony Evers grandstand catering to the far left moment once again. And the legislature, once again, is holding the line. The reason it's a bad idea is because federal money comes with strings attached, Dan. Just like when people suggest that we should do all of this infrastructure spending, as Joe Biden right now is advocating for, federal dollars come with strings attached. And it's the same with this Medicaid expansion. They want to expand welfare programs. And here in Wisconsin, we actually don't have a coverage gap for health care because of Obamacare years ago, which a lot of us had a big problem with. Some of us, like me, with pre-existing conditions who don't want to be told to stand in the back of the line one day. We don't want government stepping in between a doctor and a patient relationship, but additionally We don't need government stepping in where there is no coverage gap. There actually is no problem. There were some states countrywide that had a gap of people who were the working poor and did not have eligibility for coverage, for health care coverage. It's the Kaiser Foundation that has said this is not a conservative think tank. This is not a group of Republicans somewhere saying there's nothing to see here, there's no problem. This is an independent organization observing this, and they've done so publicly. There is no coverage gap in Wisconsin unless the federal government is devising a way to help get people off of government welfare programs. Republicans aren't interested in playing.
She is former Lieutenant Governor Rebecca Kleefisch joining me here, the 1848 Project. You can find it on social media. What is it? At 1848 Project. The website 1848project.org. Becky, thank you. It's always a pleasure talking with you.